That the United Nations has once again forecasted that by 2030, 82 million Nigerians, that is approximately about 64% of the country's population, could face hunger. The organization urges the government to address climate change, pest infestation, and other threats to agricultural productivity. This warning follows a continual rise in food prices across the nation. The National Bureau of Statistics reports that in May 2024, the nation's food inflation rate reached a historic high of 40.66%, surpassing April's rate of 40.53%. This marks the most significant annual increase in food prices since record-keeping began in 1996. Joining me on the news to discuss this is Public Affairs Analyst Theophilus Akatugba. Thank you for your time, Theophilus. Now, let's get straight to it. The United Nations says that by 2030, 82 million Nigerians, that is approximately 64% of the country's population, could face hunger. What do you make of this report, given the fact that to some experts, particularly when it comes to African countries, they see reports like this as more of doomsday calling?
Well, the reality is that Nigeria is producing less food with a growing population. We are saying that Nigerian population is growing, but the food that we produce continue to reduce due to first government misplanning over the years. It's been a wrong step, always in the wrong place. For example, the country has a very high rural to urban migration. Now, agriculture is better done and mostly done in the rural areas. If those who are involved in farming are not able to make a living farming, they will abandon farming and look for other white-collar jobs. That, I think, has been one of big factors responsible. Then again, you have to look at insecurity that has bedeviled enough the food baskets of the country. Just at the time that President Buhari said we should grow our food, farm attacks and all that intensified as if there is a certain orchestration against the country. The Anchor Borrowers Program also did not yield any fruit because those who got the money thought that it was their share of the national cake, and many people who indeed are not actual farmers got those monies. And today, some of those monies did not produce the desired result in food sufficiency or in bumper harvest or more food supplied to the market. So the United Nations has seen it clearly. It is a shame for a country, very vast arable land, to be recorded as a country where majority of the citizens will go into hunger. A good time, a good warning. I hope government will be proactive and act expeditiously to improve the situation.
Now, Theophilus, let's look at some of the issues outlined here. I mean, in that particular warning, it talked about climate change, pest infestation, amongst a plethora of issues. We know that one of such many issues has to do with insecurity. My question to you is this. Do you think that the government is actually, this particular administration that is doing what it needs to do to ensure that farmers go back to their farms and so, in a way, expand the scale of production?
Yes, I see the activities, I see the plans, I've seen the economic blueprint. Yes. That is why I said that these activities should not be politicized. You do not have to use it as a reward for political food soldiers. It's got to be a national program, an emergency for food production. Because in time past, a lot of government activities have been directed and then at political food soldiers using political channels. This does not result in the desired result. Food is critical to national security. Well, what we are having now is risky, it's dangerous. People are dying daily out of starvation and hunger. And many families cannot afford food because most of their income now goes for food. This is dangerous and it's an emergency that needs to be addressed. And I think government needs to act fast by importing food temporarily until we're able to improve the situation at home.
I mean, that's a big one there. You talk about importation of food temporarily, maybe, of course, putting policies in that direction, but I'll come to that. My next question to you is this. Let's talk about another pivotal issue, which has to do with the cost of transportation. We know of the issue of food shortage. Now, let's look at the aspect of availability. Many traders or many people who deal in, perishables, talking about food, pepper, tomatoes and the likes, onions, they bring it from the north down here to the south. Quite a number of them have complained of the cost of transportation. Hence, the reason you see the surge in prices. Do you think that enough is being done to address the cost of transporting these items? I mean, given the current reality of the pump price.
Not at all. Like I said, a state of emergency declared. We've got to evacuate food from wherever they are to where they are needed with massive rail transportation. Wherever the rail lines that have gone to the north have to be utilized. We've got to abandon road transportation for this particular emergency response. Because the roads and the various police, you see, transportation is expensive in Nigeria because of the activities of government agencies like the police and all of those people who pounce on vehicles that are carrying goods. Sometimes they expose them to unnecessary delays, leading to the perishing of these food items. There must be a decision that food carrying trucks must be allowed free flow of movement. This is an emergency and it's got to be treated as such. Nigeria is facing a war in terms of food sufficiency, and it has to be treated with alacrity.
All right, Theophilus, 30 seconds, my final question. The issue of GMO also, that's genetically modified, food items, which have been some sort of a front burner conversation in recent times. You talked about importing food. What's your take on GMOs?
My take is that it's something Nigeria should avoid. GMO is attractive. It's a quick response to food shortage, but it doesn't seem to have a kind of sustainability, and there could be health effects. I do not have the details, but I can assure you, any seedling that after it has been planted and you have harvested corn, from report that we have read, you cannot replant those ones. And again, GMO products, they decay and they perish very quickly, and their storage capacity to store them doesn't go. It's able to produce organic food and produce it in abundance. Government need to deal with insecurity very massively, and then create opportunity for rural folks to remain in rural areas to make food so that they also get reward in their farming effort. That way, you will get more people into agriculture, and people who produce agricultural produce will get good reward, for their efforts and their time.
All right, Theophilus Akatugba, thank you for your time on the news.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.